This is your before and after story. Prepare for an incredible career in nursing. At Southeastern College, experience expert hands-on training. Learn real-world skills in our professional lab and simulated settings. And train for opportunities as a practical nurse, registered nurse, or career advancement with our RN to BSN program. At Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sec.edu to get started.
All right, so welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are going to be doing something really fascinating.
Okay.
We have a puzzle in front of us, a puzzle built from search queries, and it all seems to center around Texas Tech and Florida.
Oh, wow.
And so what we're going to be trying to do today is really figure out what is the internet collectively curious about regarding these two things.
Gotcha.
And we're going to distill it down for you.
I like it.
Without drowning you in data.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Right.
Yeah, you've handed me a really intriguing collection of digital questions here.
Yes.
And our job is to kind of connect the dots and reveal the underlying story they tell, right?
Absolutely.
We're not just listing keywords here. We're trying to figure out, what's the relationship that's hinted at by their frequency and their combination.
Yeah, let's get into it. The thing that jumps out immediately is this incredibly strong link between Texas Tech, Florida, and basketball.
Oh.
We're seeing just a ton of searches for things like Florida basketball, Texas Tech basketball, Florida Gators basketball.
Mm-hmm.
We're even seeing shortened versions like UF basketball and Gators basketball.
Interesting.
Really, the data overwhelmingly points to basketball as the central interest here.
And not just basketball in general, right? It seems like there's a direct pairing of the two university names.
Yeah.
Which seems to suggest that it's not just, a general interest in college basketball.
Right.
But a specific point of intersection between these two programs.
Yeah.
And, thinking about it, it probably is a recent or upcoming event.
Right.
And, just the sheer volume of searches like Texas Tech versus Florida, Florida, Texas Tech, Florida, Texas Tech game, Texas Tech, Florida, and Florida versus Texas Tech basketball.
Wow.
It really supports this idea of a direct connection.
Yeah, the number of versus searches is really striking.
It is, yeah.
And so, do you think this solely indicates a recent game, or could there be other factors driving this direct comparison? Because then we start to see specific names related to Florida basketball popping up.
Okay.
Todd Golden appears quite frequently.
Right. And as many know, he's the head coach for the Florida Gators.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that seems like a pretty strong indication of a timely connection.
Yeah.
And then we also see Thomas Haw alongside Florida basketball and Florida Gators.
Okay, so it sounds like he's a player that people are actively looking for more information about,
right,
and likely in the context of this potential matchup.
Exactly, and we see that pattern continue with Walter Clayton Jr. and Federico also being linked to Florida and Florida basketball.
Wow, so it really looks like these are key individuals that are fueling some of this search activity.
Yeah.
The weight of the search data really supports that conclusion of a significant connection.
Yeah.
And, you throw in those player names, it really reinforces the idea of, a recent game or at least ongoing discussions about their performance in a game between Florida and Texas Tech.
Totally. And then beyond just wanting to know if a game happened, it seems like many people were actively looking for how to watch this game.
Okay.
Because we're also seeing searches like Texas Tech versus Florida Channel.
That's a key piece of the puzzle right there.
Yeah.
The fact that people were searching for broadcast information really solidifies the likelihood of a recent or at least very anticipated game between these two schools.
Totally. And then beyond this apparent head-to-head matchup, we also see a set of more general informational searches, things like, where's Texas Tech? Texas Tech basketball schedule, Florida basketball roster, Florida basketball schedule, and University of Florida basketball.
So these broader queries provide some important context here.
Yeah.
While the direct matchup seems to be the main driver of this interest, there's also, an underlying curiosity about just the fundamentals of each program.
Yeah, and then finally, we're also seeing some searches that suggest there's an interest in performance and outcomes. Things like Florida score, Florida basketball score, Gators score, Florida Texas Tech score, Florida Texas Tech prediction, and even Florida NCAA.
Wow, it's fascinating how clearly these search terms paint a picture for us.
I know, it's crazy.
The dominant theme is undeniably a significant recent or ongoing point of interaction between the University of Florida and Texas Tech University basketball programs.
Right.
And it really encompasses everything from the direct competition,
right,
to key personnel, to game details, and even expectations around their performance.
exactly. It all seems to be pointing to this timely intersection in their basketball seasons that has clearly piqued a lot of interest online.
It really has, and it raises a really interesting question for you to consider.
Okay.
What specific events or circumstances might lead to such a concentrated spike in search interest between the basketball programs of two universities that are located so far apart?
Yeah.
What kind of game or maybe a notable player dynamic could generate this level of curiosity?
I don't know, but I'm definitely curious to find out.
Me too.
All right, that's all the time we have for today on The Deep Dive.
Awesome.
See you next time.
Take care.